Leadership lessons from salt. You are the salt of the earth, says Jesus Christ. Having selected the 12 disciples, he told them, "You are the salt of the earth." He taught them to become selfless leaders. Every leader is a salt to the team. How can a leader become salt of the earth? To understand this, we must look at the characteristic of salt. Do you know that salt was always treated as precious? So too, a leader. The ancient world traded it like gold and gems. It was also seen as a necessity of life. The Romans, for example, used salt as money. It is interesting to note that the word salary comes from the Latin word salarium, which literally means salt. It was used to depict the practice of giving salt as payment to the Roman soldiers for their services. So, just as salt is precious, a leader is precious to the team. Another characteristic of salt is that it can protect and preserve. In my younger days, when refrigerators were absent, my mother used to preserve food and meat from decay by applying it with salt. It could preserve the food safe for months. Similarly, a leader has the responsibility to protect and preserve his team. Salt enhances flavor and makes food tasty. A leader possesses the magic power to make the lives of people tastier. Just as salt makes food better, a leader's presence should make the team happier and skillful. Do you know salt doesn't lose its flavor even when it is crushed, powdered, or made into a liquid? In the same way, a leader doesn't compromise his values and principles even in the highest pressure. Your team will respect you for that. Salt has healing powers. It is a disinfectant. Villagers even today use salt to heal the wounds and to prevent infection. It heals and gives good health. The ancient Jews had the custom of rubbing the newborn with salt to protect it from illness. You are a salt if you heal the wounds of your team through your kind words and deeds. You should be a disinfectant when negativism creeps in. If you do this, you are a healer. Salt purifies. This is another important trait of salt. It purifies whatever it comes into contact with. It creates a positive change in itself and in the world around. It makes everything better. Similarly, a leader makes everything brighter through his pure, transparent, and honest words and deeds. Like the salt, purify your ego to transmit brightness. Salt produces thirst. As a leader, what are we thirsting for? Power? Money? Status? Authority? Fame? What are your teams thirsting for? A leader should thirst for the happiness and success of his team. He should thirst for the right goals in life. He should guide his team to thirst for the right things in life and guide them to the true fountain to quench their thirst. Have you seen people throwing salt on each other during their religious festivals? Many rituals use salt as part of the offering to God. People believe that salt can dispel evil forces. That is why some cultures use salt water to bless the houses of believers. Is your presence a blessing for others? Do you dispel evil and bring in grace and peace? I have seen my father using salt in his farm to manure the land. Many farmers use salt as fertilizer to get a richer harvest. It enhances the chloride in the land and this helps to yield more fruits. The trees and plants grow larger and stronger if the land has salt content. Are you a manure for your team like the salt? Or are you an insect that destroys the harvest? Become the salt to reap a rich harvest. Salt is produced through evaporation. This is one of the most ancient inventions and one of the first chemical reactions that humans learned. Evaporation happens under the hot sun. As a leader, you will face intense heat and pressure. But what remains should be precious. You need to evaporate all the unwanted stress, egos, frictions, and leave behind something that the team can use to flavor their lives. As we said, salt is a necessity in life. Even a royal feast will be tasteless if it lacks salt. In the same way, a leader is indispensable. You may be taken for granted, just as salt is taken for granted. People call it as common salt, and you may be seen as common too. Yet, without a leader, our lives are tasteless. Ensure you preserve in yourself the qualities of salt. At the same time, beware that if salt is too much, people will despise even a royal feast. You are the salt. Become that salt.